I had trouble with picking out a title for this live stream because the one that I wanted to use, which was retroactive recognition, I didn't think was applicable for the interest of other people. So while I may know what that means in terms of my own coining of various phrases, which that existed before, but my own use of it here, I decided to give it kind of a more generic phrase to sort of kind of convey that when people say this to me, it feels very generic and also disingenuous. Which, to clarify that more, I'm going to give an example, the first of which. So, about 2 years ago, I was speaking to a woman that I had met through, I think, a forum. Yeah. And she and then myself engaged in a telephonic communication. At one point, she disclosed that, oh, if I had known you when I was in high school, or if we had gone to the same high school together, da 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 da, I would have been interested. And one might say to themselves, well, maybe she would have. But think to yourself about this. I've disclosed beforehand or previously that I was not successful with the pursuit of romance. So when you have a person tell you that not only are they, not necessarily that interested now, but that they would have been back then, it's almost a slap in the face because they're telling you that it's supposedly, this circumstance you couldn't control that has made it to where you have a disadvantage in comparison to back then in terms of how attracted they're going to be to you or to wanting anything relating to yourself. Another example, and I guess these are the two main ones I'm going to speak about because they're kind of at the crux of what I'm conveying. There was a person that messaged me who said that if they were if they were supposedly in my area and had known me in the past before they entered their current um, you know rapport slash relationship, they would have supposedly been interested. And again, it goes back to this thing of, you might want to say, okay, well, maybe they're trying to make you feel better. Oh, you have these redeeming qualities, and if this, certain circumstance wasn't here, they would have, been into you. But think to yourself this: if you know your own past of difficulty with people who were not with someone else, were around you in the same circumstances that they're saying they would have been interested, and those people who were in those circumstances weren't, why would you believe that these other ones would just have been completely head over heels, the exact antithesis of what you've seen from the past interactions you've had with these various women of your, I guess, yesteryears, if you want to use that term, just throwing something out there. So, in short, I don't mean to appear to call them liars for making that claim, but when a person is aware of their own, there's this thing about reality versus negativity. You could say, oh, it's negative to think that because people in the past weren't interested, people in the future won't. But the reality is you experienced a great drought when it comes to who's into you. So you're going to think whoever's coming up or appearing at a later date is going to have the same negative viewpoints towards yourself, or otherwise maintain the status quo of turning you down. And that's exactly what I think those two would, and anyone else who claims they would have been interested if only, this circumstance were different, is conveying, though not necessarily, in some deceptive way, meaning that while they may think that, more likely than not, they would have repeated the same patterns as their predecessors or the ones who rather were in that local area. And that's something I'm saying strictly because of the people who are in their circumstance doing the opposite of what they're saying they would do if they were in that circumstance. So one could say it's negative. I would say it's reality maybe a mixture of both. It is what it is.